Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very momentous occasion and warrants making a video while something big is happening. And I'll probably be talking about this for the next couple of weeks. And yet I want to document and share real-time feelings around what's happening right now. So I am currently about to pull out of my job that I had for the last year and a half, give or take. And I have somewhat of an idea and a plan of what is filling this space. Again, back to the idea of no empty space in physics. And yet there is this anticipation and excitement and curiosity around what that will be. And trusting that me leaving and me jumping, for lack of a better term, from this comfortable job, certainty that it provides, that the pull that I have to do something different is true. And I believe that it is, because anytime that I've done this in the past, it always pans out. And it was interesting today as I was, closing out things, transferring all of my roles, responsibilities, information to the person that was replacing me. Beautiful, amazing, smart, capable human. It felt so natural and so perfect for this to be happening. And even when I saw my boss for the last time today, just the way it ended, all of it felt beautiful. And even future ideas and future projects, I believe, will be a part of our relationship. One of the things I noticed, my cat, he's not loving being in a carrier right now. One of the things that I noticed in this job was I was having my employer and the person I was working for be my ceiling to a certain degree of what I could accomplish, who I could become, all of the things, and how I didn't want that to be the case. But there's this innate fear or perceived fear around quitting a job, or hold on, this is better, or just taking a leap and trusting that you'll be caught. And again, I've done this in different parts of my life, but this one feels extra juicy. Partly because of what I'm giving up or what I'm perceiving to give up. Also, like my life circumstance, I have a little more responsibility. I have an animal to take care of. There's just other things at play that are a little bit different to think about. But then again, I think the more like pressure and heat is a beautiful way to grow, whether that be a material that you're trying to alchemize or your own life. And I remember a couple years ago when I quit the job that I was doing then, that it was timed out. There's like this calm that comes over you that I've experienced, that I'm starting to feel now as I'm driving away, not knowing when I'll be back. Like, I'm sure I'll be back to the property. It's a beautiful piece of property, all the things, right? But it'll be in a different context. So even just in this moment as I'm driving, it's very freeing, and there's this like excitement. Again, it's excitement because I'm like, okay, all of this energy, all of this time, all this mental space, and the responsibility that I was holding in that job is now passed on to a very capable individual that will then see this through the next iteration. I can now put it towards something else. And that feels really good, because what I believe part of what I'm putting towards are these videos, to share my experience, to share some insights, to start conversations about certain things. That's a big part of where this energy, I believe, is wanting to go. And seeing what fills the gaps, seeing what else comes from these videos, and as I share these ideas, right? But this takes energy. And I've thought about that for a while in the past, where even this past week, as I was preparing to leave, I spent this whole last week plus out at the ranch, or out where I was working. And I was removed from my everyday life for a couple different reasons, and it felt great, but I noticed I was, like a horse waiting to start a race. Like, okay, there's stuff that I want to do. There's things I want to create that I feel called to create. And now there's this fuel that I have access to. When before, say if you spend 8 hours a day or whatever your shift is, right? working, you then also have to take care of your body, take care of food, take care of your home, take care of your partner, your family, friends, whatever the situation is. And there's sometimes there literally is just not enough time. Now, obviously, you can dial in that time, right? But then, just energy-wise, if you're trying to also live and create and all the other parts of being human that are beautiful, there's certain sacrifices that have to be made, and it feels good, at least for the time being. Again, I'm curious what these next few weeks will hold, because another part of this experience is I talk about transition. I'm not even going back to my house. My house is still unlivable from construction work that needed to be done, for, like in a very weird situation. So just even more transition of, yes, Jasper, I know he's very talkative. Um, Even more transition when it comes to where I'm living. And your home is usually a good grounded place for you to have your own space, right? And now that's not even the case. And that also feels very interesting to just, again, notice, like, okay, so I won't even have a home for the next week and a half. And then my lease is at the end of this month. And so the timing of this ending is also very curious, because the more you lean into the change that is wanting to happen, which I'm doing the best that I can to do that, I believe it's way smoother. You're able to see more synchronicities. You're able to consciously close out certain things and welcome new beginnings. Like even today, I was like dancing down by this river and just helping close out somatically. There's this idea, not idea, like we're energetic beings, which I know we've talked about, and you have an auric field around you, and information comes into that field energetically, and movement. That's why movement is so important. Movement helps seal information in that auric field. That's why you feel better after a workout or a walk, or in this case, dancing. I thought about working out at the gym, but I decided to dance for a little bit instead, which was beautiful, because then I'm able to seal the experience. I was able to seal the experience of my last day with play, with movement, and with lightness. Ah! Oh my god. This is the first job I've ever left where I thought I would be there for a long time because of what this job was for that time. And I'm realizing that's not the case. And I'm curious if anyone's ever experienced this, where you're put in a position where the only option is to surrender to the situation, the experience. There's a book, I forget, blank on the artist or the author's name, but it's called The Surrender Experiment, where this guy, just look up The Surrender Experiment. I'll drop it in the title if I remember the author. But just like life is going to happen, and it doesn't really matter what your relational circumstances are, financial circumstances are, job, no job. Like, just trust that it's going to work out and move with that energy and with that intent. And it usually does. Now, one thing I'm even noticing now in this process is, don't get too attached to how it's going to look. Focus on the feeling of it. That's way more important. Focus on how it's going to feel. Because as you focus on how it's going to feel, that back to the auric field, back to your energetic field, that will vibrate out of you, feeling wise. So there are so many areas I could see in my life right now where I might freak out or get like, again, kind of lose my center. Don't get me wrong. There's some oscillation. There's definitely moments where like freaking out a little bit, but most of it, like 90%, I would say, there's this calm that I feel, which I've never experienced this, not in this way. And there's other reasons for that, I believe. There's other stuff I'm doing out in other areas of my life that are helping ground and calm my nervous system and take care of my body in a way where I am able to experience these massive shifts and changes without, like, not getting too attached to it. Attachment is a whole skill and practice, right? But so much of our identities can be wrapped up in our job, how we do it at a time. Because even for myself, when I've had no jobs in the past, or when I've had transition periods, there can be angstiness of like, okay, after a couple of days, like you want to do something, and with that, that's you getting charged back up. You have extra time. Done your workout, done your journaling, done the whatever other things you want to do, and then you're like, now what? Now what am I gonna do? And I'm looking forward to that. I can feel my body's need for rest, need for a wind down, at least for a week, maybe. We'll see where the energy goes and how it needs to flow. And at the same time, enjoying the present experience of what I am leaving behind me right now, literally in the rearview mirror. And it's funny thinking back to when I first started this job, when I first came to this position, like years ago, who I was, and then a year and a half ago, give or take, a little over a year and a half ago, who I was then, and what I was wanting for a job, what I was looking for, and how this was exactly what I was looking for. Before I got this job, I was wanting a role that was flexible, playful. I enjoyed it. I would be good at it. I didn't need to be challenged in a certain way at work for that period of time. There are other things I wanted to focus on. And looking at where I'm at now, a year and a half later, and seeing the fruits of the work that I put in, emotionally, psychologically, nervous system wise, all of that is now what I'm wanting or what I'm desiring when it comes to how I serve the world or how I spend my time in that aspect of my life has changed. And it feels so cool. And it's also really, I would say, encouraging, because when you're in it, right, when you're in a process or when you're in a period of transition or mundaneness, maybe it can be hard to see if something's working. But then just noticing how I feel now compared to a year and 8 months ago, it's like night and day in so many ways. So I'm like, oh my God, if this job showed up for me when I was in that state 16 or 18 months ago, what is going to fill that space now that I'm also creating abundant space and time, which is beautiful, and I'm thankful that I have that gift and ability and I've chosen that path. What is going to fill that space? And that is where I believe one of the main roles and responsibilities that I have, even from starting this moment going forward, is to make sure that I am not sabotaging or getting in my own way. And I know everyone's guilty of that. I definitely am. Where you might get some momentum, it might be a little bit nerve-wracking, you might start to succeed at something, you might be in a relationship and you sabotage it, whatever it may be. And so for me, really being honest with myself, and the stakes get higher at certain points. They definitely are now for me, and it wakes you up in a way where you're like, oh, okay, if I do this, it actually won't. The trade-off is no longer worth it. And a couple examples of what I'm referring to: what foods you eat, right? That affects your body in a huge way. How you spend your time, who you spend your time with. Do you move your body? If you do, how do you move it? Do you enjoy that movement? Are you, staying up all night on your phone? If you watch any movies, media, like, how do you feel? And so I'm really, really excited and looking forward to, again, and some of this can happen pretty quick, right? So the next few days, as I get settled in my Airbnb in Austin and start to kind of settle, not be at work, start to ground a little bit more from a trip I just took. So there's been a lot of moving parts. And so now I can really be honest and look at where my time is going. And again, make sure that I'm not sabotaging, knowingly or unknowingly, certain parts of my life, so that the energy that wants to come through can come through. I believe that everyone has an incredible level of intuition and inner guidance that we are born with, yet so many people in society and even ourselves eventually inhibit that for one reason or another. That's one thing that I've really learned the last 5 to 10 years about myself, is things that I'll do that inhibit the clear channel that is God, that wants to come through you, that wants to make things manifest, and has given you dreams and desires, and wants them to be fulfilled. And realizing that the trade-off can be sometimes kind of sad. Like there might be some emotion around it, right? Where it's like, okay, I know that for me, like if I eat certain foods, I won't feel as clear, I won't feel as energized, I won't sleep as well, I won't feel as vibrant. Now, that to me, as I've gotten older and as I've experienced the contrast, is it's worth not eating some of those foods. Now there's the like, damn, will I ever be able to eat fill in the blank again, right? Now, obviously, everything in moderation, and I don't want to demonize or moralize certain foods, but it's just for you to look at, and even for me to look at, like, is it worth it? If I do this, is knowing the terms and conditions is one of my favorite, most recent phrases to use when it comes to some of these things. Is the terms and conditions of this action. Are you reading them fully? Are you being honest with yourself with what those are? And if you're not, grow the fuck up and read them. And if you are, then enjoy it. Again, if I decide to go eat pizza tonight, and I know that might upset my stomach, or I might not feel as energized tomorrow, but I'm consciously choosing it, then I can enjoy the experience of a good pizza, right? And the experience of eating it with friends, or whatever it may be. Fill that as you will. But the worst case, and I remember seeing this growing up a lot, was like, say if you go eat something that might not be the best, and then you beat yourself up about it, it's like a double negative. You're eating food that maybe not the best, but then you're also beating yourself up about it, which is like, well, you already ate it, so you might as well enjoy that you ate it instead of, you know what I'm saying? So that I'm really, because even some of those things that I would go to or that I saw myself coping with, I also believe is attached to how you spend your time. What I mean by that is, use my current job that I just left. Foods that I would eat or things I would need to do to de-stress from the day were attached to that job. And I know that may be an obvious idea, but I want to think about that for a minute, because I believe that's your body telling you, we don't like this. This is not worth it. Whereas you see people that are working 24 hours a day, whatever it is, they're very passionate about it, and they then don't have to cope with alcohol or other substances. I believe that's your body's intelligence, your body telling you, hey, we like this work is worth it for us. It is worth it for us to be working in this way or serving the world in this way. And so, again, even for myself, I'm really, really curious to see, with that new lens in place, as I choose what to do next and what I allow in my opportunity field when it comes to jobs, clients, whatever it may be, really using your body's intelligence as the metric of, is this going to need some kind of de-stress to it? Now, I'm not saying you won't ever have stress. I'm not advocating for that. I think stress is good kinds of stress, or pressure and heat. But not the kind of stress where as soon as you get off the clock, you're like, oh my God, I need a drink. That's not good stress. I don't believe so at all. Because you can have that same drink from a different headspace. One of the rules I had for myself back in the day when I used to smoke was, if I say this is neutral right here, right? I'm in a neutral mental state. If I'm down here, you can't see it, but if I'm down here and I have a desire to smoke, I would do my best, not all the time, but I would do my best to try and get myself up to here in a natural way, whether that be going for a walk, maybe doing some journaling, thinking about or trying to process why ever I was down here. And then once I was in a neutral state, then if I did still decide to smoke or eat something, whatever it may be, I would be coming at it from a neutral place. And then it would be an enjoyable experience from that headspace. Same thing goes for drinking, binge watching a show, whatever your choice is, whatever your choice of substance is. But I see a direct correlation of, if I was always coming from a neutral or a negative headspace, I would, and then I would smoke. I would like kind of get to neutral, but I wouldn't feel as good if I had started from neutral. And again, applying that to this experience now, is again using that going forward as I see what's going to come into my field, what's going to come into my, now I have all this energy. Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously we'll probably talk about this more in the coming weeks, but I think that's most of the present things about this job change I'm experiencing. Um, Again, so much gratitude for the experience. It changed my life in so many ways. It gave me so many opportunities. It was able to allot me a lot of different experiences over the last year and a half, whether that be being able to heal my body through different practitioners and getting good food, be able to just rest in a way where I haven't been able to in a very long time, if ever, as an adult, and be able to meet some amazing people through that opportunity or that experience. And I'm really, really excited to see how this will cascade into something even better. And better meaning like not that this is bad, but like better in a more aligned way. Better in the sense that, oh boy, Jesus. Wow, this cop like just did some wild maneuvering. Wow, that could have been an accident waiting to happen. Anyway, all right, whew, we're back. Better. What happens when you do a video while you're driving? You get random police interruptions, little shout outs. Better in the sense it's more aligned for why I'm here. Because one of the things that one last thing I'll say is when I came into this job a year and a half ago, I could see the role that it was playing to give my body a chance to catch up with what I felt called to do. And now that has been accomplished, it's so crazy how quickly things happen when you are in coherence with yourself and your body is on the same page. God's like, yep, here we go, time to go. And so that's what I mean by better, is more aligned on the soul level. Because I see the role that it played on the soul level for a time. However, there's always more alignment, I believe. You have unlimited potential. Everyone does. It's just, what do you settle for? What do you stay comfortable? And don't get me wrong, it can be uncomfortable. There's lots of uncomfortability in that process, but again, the trade-off is you stay comfortable in the box you're in, or you decide to fucking blow the glass box up, because it's a perceived limitation. And what do you? I remember hearing this quote once, like, what was the price that you were first paid to give up on your dreams? I was like, oh, fuck me up, dude. That's wild, but it's true. It's like everyone has something, I believe, at some level that they want to express, that they want to show up as. It could be being a father, a mother, partner, whatever it may be. And I'm really, really excited to see again what this new thing is that is emerging. Because if my intuition is correct and my feeling is accurate, it is going to change my life. And I also believe change so many others for the better. And for that alone, it feels worth it to take this leap that I took today. I believe that last thing I'll say, I believe that the pull that you have, you as an individual watching this, the pull to start your own business, to become a therapist, to become a parent, to open a coffee shop, to be a chef, whatever it may be, part of that pull, that tug you have, are the prayers, are future prayers of the people that you are meant to serve. The pull and the tug that you have on your soul to start whatever the thing is you want to start or pursue are the prayers, are the future prayers of the people you are meant to serve. And so when you're thinking about doing something like quitting a job, moving across the country without really knowing why, realize it is not just for you. It is not only for you. It is for people, men and women, young, old, that are literally praying for your services, praying for the book that you're writing, praying for the videos you're making, praying for the music you're going to write, praying for the art that you're going to put in galleries, and they're going to sit there with their partner one day and cry. That's what those are. That's what that is. Because time is not the way we perceive it, and prayers are not limited by space and time. So remember that. And when you get that pull, think about that. And that can help you with those decisions. At least it does for me sometimes. Yes, part of it is your own desire and your own soul's calling to evolve and expand. But part of it, I believe, is those asking and literally praying to God for you to wake the fuck up and start that thing. Much love to y'all. I hope this was an insightful video. I'm going to go get settled in Airbnb for the next week and a half and see what the next iteration of my life is going to be. And I'm excited to take you all along on this journey because I think it's going to be fun. Cheers, y'all.